Okay. All right. Well, jingle bells, everyone. That will be the extent of my Christmas carol singing for this episode of Click Happens. It's the holiday episode, and I'm joined with appropriately addressed companions Kyle Sadi of Seedpod Cyber. He's our Chief Revenue Officer and EVP of Underwriting, and Sinclair Morris, who heads up our MSP partnerships. Kyle, Sinclair, great outfits. Nice to have you here.
I wish I could wear this more often, but I guess today's like the one day of the year where I'm allowed to. So take
Right.
it.
There you go. Well, is that actually a soccer? Is there a soccer emblem on that?
It's a playoff. I'm a Manchester United fan, so it's a playoff of that. Very festive in British soccer. That's why I got
Okay.
here.
All right. Okay, good. We won't do any trash talking of Man United at this time of year. Sinclair, are you wearing any kind of sports emblems on your sweater? Or are you pure Christmas there?
Absolutely no sports here. Just
Okay,
really.
you got the reindeer. Okay. All right, awesome. And I'm dressed as a present, bounty of presents, I guess, here. So, but as the in true holiday traditions for the last episodes of any show, we want to do kind of a reflection of this year and talk about next year as well, and also we'll do a little bit of who's been naughty and who's been nice as well here. So as we look back, and I'll start with you, Kyle. What are some of the notable items that have kind of came up this year that were either on the technical side or on the insurance side for everyone?
Yeah, always an interesting year when you get to look back. I like to think about things like this, like what were some of the bigger attacks that occurred that hit the news this year? Were there any kind of technical efficiencies or controls that really seemed to stand out? What was the risk exposure, that sort of thing? I think for 2025, everyone's constantly talking about AI and what that looks like and what that means. Is AI covered under a cyber policy? Is it not? What does that mean? As we expected, I think we're starting to see a lot of cyber attacks be automated with AI. And it's for anyone that is adopting or using AI, you can understand why that's happening. And on the flip side, it's, white hat hackers and businesses trying to protect themselves or might be using AI to protect themselves as well. So that continues. The coverage discussion around AI is interesting because for some of it, it's just kind of standard cyber policies, for what would already be covered. It doesn't matter if it's, generated from an AI attack or something like that. Whereas there are other AI exposures that might be covered or not covered. So that's important to understand. Some of the bigger attacks, I think that occurred this year that really hit my kind of radar were there was the Mark and Spencer big retail event in England that got a lot of headlines, and also I think it was the Jaguar Land Rover attack, which really affected, which was interesting, a lot of downstream clients, maybe vendors that work with Jaguar, which was interesting. And again, we always talk about vendor exposure when it comes to cyber, but that was it was unfortunate to see. I think a lot of small businesses affected by that. So again, those were kind of the high level items for me looking back, of both from a control perspective and then some of the higher cyber events that occurred.
Right. And Sinclair, from your perspective, working with the MSPs, what were the things that they started leaning into more this year than perhaps not as much the year before?
Yeah, I definitely, to second what Kyle mentioned about vendor contracts and really keeping like an inventory of your vendors, what they have access to, what those contracts look like, for breach notifications, definitely has become, a hot topic. And then just, I think, cyber insurance in general, to be honest, from 2024 to 2025, I feel like MSPs are increasingly wanting to engage with their clients about it to make sure that they do have protection, which obviously, mitigates some exposure of the MSPs. But yeah, definitely looking at making sure they have adequate coverage in place if something does happen. And I think also those cloud outages that we saw in 2025, almost it felt like back to back, has driven that a little bit because their clients were down for a few hours, calling them repeatedly saying, "What the heck's going on? Why are we down? Why did you choose this provider?" All these questions that kind of sounded the alarm, I think, for a lot of MSPs.
Right. Yeah. And then they needed to stay up to deal with it, and they couldn't get their Starbucks. So that added to it, right? Here as well. I think AI, it was certainly the theme throughout business world. And I think in addition to, just kind of adding on to Kyle, what you said on that front, I think businesses trying to figure out how AI will work in their business or to help them, I think really has increased, and that not going away. Even though some businesses may be in what that is called the trial of disillusionment, when you get excited about a new technology and you start using it, and then the abilities of either the technology or yourself don't match, the vision you had for it. And I think some businesses, started out very quickly adopting AI, trying to create opportunities to use it that may not have worked out. But I still think that's going to be a big issue going forward there. And I think I would say, although it wasn't new news this year, but the fact that so many of the small businesses do not have cyber insurance became a big talking point among the cyber insurers this year. You didn't hear as much about it in prior years. And I think part of it is that everyone's looking to grow, and where are the new markets to growth, and the small business represents a new market. So everybody's now talking about it, where they were focused more upstream in terms of the size of accounts before there. So that's going to continue to be an issue. I think you're also, although I think some of at least the discussions that you read seem to be a call for more data to support the underwriting. Although that kind of at the same time belies how the carriers have really been pricing the risks and underwriting as if they didn't need data at all. They just needed to kind of drop the price to grow. So we'll see how that plays out, certainly here. And then certainly the Marks and Spencer, that was, and then allegedly the same group went into the U.S. and hit a couple of the insurance companies. That was really wasn't driven by high tech, expertise or even, I don't know, but even maybe AI. It was driven by calls to a help desk to try to get credentials, and convincing the help desk to give them credentials that they could then leverage to use to get into the systems there. And we had another huge MSP, which rhymes with Nagazint, and in which they were brought into a major lawsuit because their help desk gave credentials to a large enterprise company that was hacked. So these kind of low tech methods are still, there's still a good way, seemingly, for bad guys to get into the system here. And we don't want to forget that there are still kind of low hanging fruit that could be addressed even before you get to certain things there. Those are kind of the ahas from my standpoint as I think back this year. The claim activity is, from everything you read, is still consistent. And yet the market from an insurance standpoint seems to continue to soften here. And that also seemed to be the news for this year. When we think about the naughty and nice, let's talk about the naughties. What were the naughties this year? Sinclair, can you think of any naughties? Anyone who should be on the naughty list?
Any business owner who thinks they shouldn't have MFA deployed for themselves.
That would be definitely on the naughty list, right? There to make sure that they do have, at the very least, multi-factor authentication in place here. Kyle, who else would be on the naughty list?
Sinclair did take I think the MFA one is my naughty list every single year. So I think there's a theme throughout my career. But I will switch it. And this goes to the topic, Doug, that you were talking about with a lot of SMBs still being uninsured, and how important that is. And it's just making me think about, client conversation I had earlier this week where a client was purchasing for the first time, and we were walking through the different scenarios. And this was an MSP actually that purchased tech and cyber. And, we were talking about scenarios of why it's important not only they purchase, but their clients. And I think there are two things that stand out to me when I explain to them. One, there's the financial benefit of purchasing cyber insurance. But two, it's getting access to vendors and access to the experts, because I have seen companies go through cyber events uninsured, unfortunately, and it's scary. It's a mess. You don't know who to call, that sort of thing. And imagine, trying to call a law firm when the house is on fire. They're going to tell you how much they want to charge. So that's another big component to it. But yeah, I'll go with the uninsured this year.
The uninsured as on the naughty list.
Yeah.
I think that, in terms of the naughty list, I would, there could be a few here. I think the real, and just picking up on how help desks have kind of driven some of these large scale ransomware attacks here is just, continued inability for security awareness training to be effective, assuming that it's actually being done in, especially in these environments with people who have the ability to assign credentials. So I would say those practitioners or those companies who aren't paying enough attention to security awareness would be on my naughty list as far as that goes here. Anyone else, Sinclair?
I could talk about the naughty list for a while.
Make sure present companies excluded. Just want to put that out there.
Yeah, I mean, really, I feel like any small to medium sized business, it just isn't giving the attention to security. Obviously we work with, small to medium sized businesses who may not be working with an MSP, or they've got one hired for like a break fix kind of situation. And it's, it's funny the difference when you get on the phone with those kinds of clients versus those who you can just tell care about security. It's a culture. It's in everything they do. It's top of mind, as it should be.
Right. Yep. Anyone else, Kyle?
I'm tapped out. I'm tapped out for the
Yeah,
naughty
okay.
list.
Well, that's good. That's good. You
I'm
have
trying
a
to think what's the opposite of I guess the good list.
the
The
good, yeah, well, the
list.
nice list. We'll get to
Nice
that in
list.
a moment. I just want to add to the naughty list. I would say, you know, software, especially kind of security manufacturers, but product or hardware that you know, don't respond as quickly to getting their systems patched as they should. There's been too many of these vulnerabilities that have occurred within, you know, firewalls in particular, VPNs, virtual private network tooling, that really either shouldn't be there in the first place if they had more of a secure design process, or you're not going to catch everything. Fail to quickly, you know, provide the adequate patching here, and so I would put them on the naughty list. You know, that they need to make sure it's things are clean and ready to go before they ship, from that perspective. But let's go to the nice list. So, Kyle, you're in the holiday spirit. You're thinking good, gratuitous thoughts. Who's on the nice list?
Oh, anyone focused on vendor management and what that means. I love a good underwriting description, a good vendor management, making sure that the vendors you're working with, whether that's you're tiering, you know, saying you have access to our critical data, you know, quarterly catch-ups, staying on top of contract agreements, things like that. So yeah, I'll go with the vendor side there.
Wow, vendor management. Wow, the unsung heroes there. People probably don't even know they're working for them in the organization. That's a good one. Sinclair, what about you?
For the nice list, you know, something I've been hearing a lot of, MSPs, not only, you know, obviously cyber insurance plays a role in this conversation, but incident response. Because there are a lot of times where I'll see clients do have actually a very robust approach to security, but they don't have an incident response plan. They haven't tested it. So I think MSPs that are putting that, you know, top of mind in 2026 or have in 2025, nice list.
They're on the nice list. Yeah, yeah. There's an inverse relationship between the quality of your incident response plan and the cost of an incident. So definitely something to be on the nice list for. You know, I think you know, and just to kind of double down on the MSPs, I think those that are, you know, really kind of building security into their tech stack, and are on the nice list. They're not leaving it to the small business to kind of make those decisions, and which at the end of the day they're really not qualified to. Yes, it's a budget issue, but I think you know, I would argue if you're an MSP and you're not dealing with clients who respect security, you're just increasing your own risk exposure by working with them here. But there, so that they would be on my nice list. And anyone else, Kyle?
Oh man, I mean, if we're keeping with the MSP theme, I mean, I think we're lucky to have so many MSP partners that do take these things serious, both the cyber security, but also the cyber insurance solutions. And we know that MSPs are often kind of trusted advisors for their clients on all things cyber security. Hence you know, why we get pulled in a lot of times for insurance discussions. So let's just give it to MSPs as a whole. Let's do that.
Let's do it. Okay, that's great. That's great. And you know, I just I guess I'm, you know, more grinchy today, but someone to add to the naughty list would be all those carriers that are starting to sell their own cybersecurity services in addition to the insurance. They're on my naughty list here. I don't think that's going to work out too well in the SME space, at least. here. But so let's talk about next year, and from a New Year's resolution standpoint, what type of New Year's resolutions? Well, let's start with MSPs. Would we like to see from MSPs this year that they have? Sinclair, what's a New Year's resolution that you would like your MSPs to think about doing?
Okay, well, I can give you another one, but the obvious one is going to be talking about cyber insurance, tracking renewal dates so that you can be sure your client is actually bringing you that questionnaire and they're not assuming nothing has changed, so that, come claim time, no one gets surprised.
Right. Okay, that's a good one. Kyle?
I'll go with continuing to evolve and understand new cybersecurity options that are out there. And selfishly, we have some partnerships outside of our MSP world where we actually get access to some really cool partners that are doing some really cool things in tech. And while we're tech agnostic, we're not tech ignorant. We obviously appreciate when we see a solution out there that can really secure a client. So I think that's one for me, is just making sure to stay aware of, newer solutions that are out there that are cutting edge, that can, if implemented, can protect the clients that much better.
Okay. All right. There. What would we like to see from the insurance carriers? What New Year's resolutions will we like from them?
I'll go first on that one. Obviously, stop doing cybersecurity things, but separate from that, I think it takes the conversation into, what is the market going to do? And again, we've seen this 2 to 3 year cycle of a soft market. And again, we've talked in the past, that can be good and bad for clients. The good is, of course, affordable premiums are fantastic, but if they're not sustainable and we're going to see a huge spike like we did in 19 to 20, that's not good for anyone. So I would like to see, some stability there. And understanding that, perhaps we're hitting that bottom, and let's make sure that all of the clients understand that there is maturity in this marketplace. It's not a market that's been around for a couple of years and doesn't know what it's doing.
Right. Yep. I would say from the insurance standpoint, from a New Year's resolution, is to, and along the lines of stability, is to maintain the underwriting integrity, really around the security that companies should have. It's important, especially with the smaller businesses who can't afford an incident, whether in some cases, whether or not they have insurance, they can't afford an incident from a reputational standpoint, and to start backing away from some even minimum requirements like multi-factor authentication just doesn't seem to make sense. So continue to maintain that integrity. Sinclair, what would you like to see from the carriers?
Yeah, I totally agree with what you said, Doug. Cyber insurance carriers and requirements have long been, looked at as helping to drive small to medium-sized businesses, especially to, adapt and implement strong security controls. It's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you're not going to be vetting this stuff, the market is going to shift eventually, because no one's got any protection in place and they're just relying on this insurance policy to pay for losses. I think it's super irresponsible, but hopefully we'll see in 2026 that, carriers continue to do their diligence.
Right. Yep. Great. And then we have to, no holiday show like this. Kyle, what's your bold prediction for next year?
Bold prediction is, I actually do think the market will harden a bit, but I think it's going to look different than what the cyber insurance prior past hard market was. I think you're going to have some markets that, and I think this goes to what you said, Doug, about underwriting integrity. Maybe that hasn't been a focus, and maybe those losses will become too much. And not that they will dissolve or disappear, but there'll be a change in how they're writing, and a pullback, and less options. So I don't think it's going to be a complete hard market because there are new entrants into the marketplace and that sort of thing. But I could see some actual hardening. What that looks like and where exactly in the marketplace, it'll be interesting to see. But it feels like that's going to be here in 2026.
Okay. All right. Great. Sinclair?
Yeah, maybe not the boldest prediction, just from what we've seen in 2025. But I do think we will continue to see AI supporting threat actors in just taking advantage of human error. And we've seen it in 2025 develop with business email compromise becoming increasingly common. So I think we will continue to see that trend develop in 2026.
Yep. And the other bold prediction is that we're going to continue to do these podcasts in the next year here, and I don't think we're going to change Kyle from his Man United.
You get to wear this every week, right?
Right.
I won't wash it for good luck too. So
there you go. Well, thanks for sharing.
Why we're remote on this podcast.
Right. This is we're really looking forward to helping you who've been listening really kind of get a sense of where the cyber market is going, how we see the intersection of the managed service provider and cyber insurance playing out, since we're at the ground zero of that ourselves, and also what impact does all this have on that small business, which really is the foundation of innovation, has historically been and will continue to be, and we need to make sure that they continue to do that in a safe manner. So with that, Kyle, Sinclair, have great holidays. Enjoy your time off, or whatever you're doing. I guess, Sinclair, you're going up north to hopefully play in snow, right?
Yes.
There. So good. And Kyle, you'll be watching Man United, obviously, and
probably lose, but I'll be local for it. So yeah,
maybe there. But in any event, it's been great. Thanks again for participating in this, and thanks for everybody for watching. Have a great holiday. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.